Hi, this is Brian from acousticmusic.org, Guitars for Trade. I'm going to talk about a couple of guitars here today, iconic guitars, looming large in my personal mythology. Um, I was obsessed with getting a 12-string Rickenbacker. Um, I'm still a huge Birds fan. Um, my first guitar was a Kappa Continental, Robin's Egg Blue. Um, you got to start somewhere. And my second guitar was a uh, Fender Mustang. It was all I could. I, I'm not going to say it was all I could afford. My grandmother actually bought me um, the Fender Mustang. There was a band called the Little Boy Blues, really great band back in the '60s back in Connecticut, and they did really great covers of the Byrds and a lot of stuff that I learned about playing the Rick. 12 string came from a guy, the guitarist in that band, Harvey Third. And he had a 450-12, which is the solid body version 12 string Rick. And when I went, and this was the guitar I really wanted, but I think a Mustang back around 1966 or so was probably maybe like $120, $130. And one of these, if you got a really good price on it, was more like $230. And so I'd gone to this guitar shop up in New London to get a guitar, and the guy took me in the back, and I said, I'd like to, get a guitar, and he opened up the case for one of these and showed me one of these, and my heart leapt. I was going to get one. He goes, "Oh, wait, wrong case," and closed the case and took out the Mustang. And sometime afterward, I got my first 450-12. This isn't my first one. My first one was from a time when they were not through body. This one you can see this neck goes right through here, and these two parts of the body are, grafted on. For a while, Rickenbacker was doing this thing where the neck was getting glued on. So my first 450-12 had a glued on neck, and the neck lasted for about a year before it, you know, went flying off. It was actually during a gig. I was playing at a place, I think the coffee house was called the Anathema. And I was playing and noticing it's getting harder and harder to play. And I looked down and I could just see the neck was like that. So it got sent off to Rickenbacker to get fixed. It was gone forever, it seemed. And while it was gone, my dad was a bartender at this club, this restaurant in Madison. This is all like local stuff. If you're in Connecticut, this stuff will mean something to you, especially from the '60s. Called the Woodlawn, and you know how bartenders talk. Bartenders and barbers and and guitar dealers. And he mentioned to this guy that my Rickenbacker broke, and so the guy goes, I got one of those guitars. I don't play guitar anymore, which is really kind of odd because. Rickenbacker, they didn't really go into production until like '64 in any meaningful way. And so this was probably like '66. So this guy wasn't too dedicated to playing. And anyway, so my dad brought home a Mapleglo 360-12. And this is the guitar that, Jim, later to be Roger McGuinn, changed the world with. Lots of compression, Mr. Tambourine Man guitar. This one's had a hard life. It's got overspray on it. It's pretty funky. But it's, the checker binding in the back. Neck ending right here with a pickup right up to here. The shell appearing composite inlays, which Rickenbacker doesn't do even on the reissues now. This guitar is in really rough shape, but I've actually done a few sessions with it. I can still play it. Although it really could benefit from a neck reset. You can see the bridge is just laying on the top and the action's still kind of funky, which was a problem, I think, with this neck angle, which is why later on they moved that pickup down and worked with getting the neck more secure. So this is a 65, and the way you date them is you've got this one like is E, H, so you go A, B, C, D, E, 1965, and then H, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. That's my eighth finger, right? So that would be August, right? So August of 65, this was made. This one is ED, so it would be again 65, and then A, B, C, D, April of 65. So we have two 12-string Ricks, a 450 12 and a 360 12. Again, George Harrison got, I believe, the second one they made. And that Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Dan the Torpedoes album, I believe that guitar was one serial number away from Harrison, so I would imagine maybe that's the third. I don't know. Anyway, iconic guitars. These have been played a lot over the years. Certainly not collector's grade, but definitely examples of two iconic 12-string Rickenbackers from 1965. Brian from acousticmusic.org, Guitars for Trade. Have a great, I'm going to say weekend, because when I'm doing this, it's close to the weekend. Bye-bye.